going on the SiriusXM Sports platform. And I want to tell you about Mad Dog Sports Radio. If I could ever get to the promo here. Digging up the facts, hosted by Chris Russo, who obviously is the patriarch of Mad Dog Sports Radio. It's a historical podcast that takes a deep dive into momentous sports events with a flair to the uniquely Mad Dog. Check out the latest episode focusing on the evolution of the NCAA exclusively on the SiriusXM app. Free for all purpose downloading today. It's our podcast to see the best collection of podcasts in one place. Coming up tonight, we've got a double header on NBA ratings starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Following Justin and Eddie, it'll be the morning
drive fast.
In Miami's an 8. This is a one-game swing. This is a one-game swing. So if Miami wins this game, now there's only one game separate. If the Knicks win this game, now there's 3 games separate. I don't feel comfortable saying that Jimmy Butler has more pressure or Julius Randle has more pressure. I feel like because of how close they are in standings and how significant it is when these two teams play each other, as far as a one-game swing, the pressure's on both of them. That's fair. The judges will accept that answer for sure. I'm going to put more pressure on the Miami Heat tonight. They have lost 6 games in a row. The other night, in a game with Jimmy Butler, they got ripped to shreds by the Charlotte Hornets. Big Monk had a 24-point first half. And yes, Miami clawed back into the game, and it ended up being down to 5-3 all that kind of stuff. They got a bit straight in the first half. In 8 points. When the Knicks, the Hornets come up, they'll beat the Patriots. What matters is to get them Philly, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, top 3 in the East, that's going to stay there. The best you can do is to get the 4. If Miami loses tonight, they fall 3 games back of New York with game ground as the 4th team, and at this point it will start to drift away from you. You win tonight, now you're 1 game out of 4th place. I think there's more pressure on the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler tonight. Let's go to a huge play-in tournament game, AD. The Sacramento Kings at the San Antonio Spurs. De'Aaron Fox or DeMar DeRozan at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. That's just how we're pressure to perform in this game tonight. I would say De'Aaron Fox because I say the same thing about the San Antonio Spurs, but the difference with the Spurs is 3 games above 500, and the Sacramento Kings are 4 games below 500. So I would say De'Aaron Fox, if you
All for the love. Oh my God.
and you're trying to make it to that 10th place right, it's going to come a point where you're going to have to start playing together. And you spot on with this one. This is a playoff game in the regular season for the Sacramento Kings. And it kind of sort of is with the Spurs as well, but way more than the Kings. The Kings are below the playoff line right now. They're 11 points. They're 1 game behind Golden State, went to 10th place spot in the last part of the play. If Sacramento wins this game, they would go from 3.5 games behind San Antonio to 2.5 games behind San Antonio. And they completely muddy up the whole bracket scenario in the play-in tournament, okay? And Sacramento has won 4 games in a row. They're coming off of a game where they beat the Cavaliers on a buzzer beater by Harrison Barnes over the weekend. So they're feeling themselves right now. So keep the good vibes going and keep the momentum going and go get a win. I think there's more pressure on Fox and the Sacramento Kings as well. All right. Shams Charania of The Athletic is reporting, AD, that the 2021 NBA draft will be held on July 29th. The NBA draft lottery will be on June 22nd, which in previous years might have been draft night, and the draft combine is scheduled from June 21 through June 27th.
Hell no!
It's noteworthy, obviously, it's the draft, and we're NBA radio, but you tomorrow night
mobile quarterback, and he is bad to the bone. I love both of these guys, man.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch because college basketball's been a little different this year. You know, even the NCAA tournament, obviously, just like the NBA season has been different, where you have teams that are affected by COVID. You saw Duke didn't even participate. You know, the tournaments in a bubble, it's a little bit different. But anytime you hear of a game of that magnitude, as far as the future of the NBA is concerned, I'm all eyes. I definitely want to check that game out.
7:15 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow on TBS. It'll be the Knicks, Mobley and USC against the number 1 seeded Gonzaga Bulldogs. There's 29 at home. And by the way, they have 3 other future NBA players on that roster, the Zags, and I think they're going to cut down to 10. But that's coming up tomorrow night. Brady, I am Dan. Big thanks to Bruno Brown and Chris Hogan. And big thanks to Chris Marlowe for hanging out with us as well. We'll see you tomorrow.
Since the dawn of time,
Zero visibility.
greatest wrestling talk show ever.
They got a combined 41 All-Star selections, a combined 31 All-NBA selections. They got 2 MVP awards on the roster. They have 7 scoring titles. And that doesn't even include like the contributions from guys like Joe Harris, Jeff Green, and Andrew Shannon, and Bruce Brown, and even Spencer Dinwiddie. He keeps claiming that over the weekend he's going to be back at some point. I mean, with all that said, Brooklyn better win this year. If they can't win with that roster, it's embarrassing. Anything short of them winning an NBA championship, and that includes losing to the Lakers in the final, that's a mess. And they better hope they can deal with immense pressure because they're under.
Oh, they're under a lot of pressure. But I think they do that when they pick up partners. They know the kind of pressure that they're under.
Sorry guys.
I disagree with you a little.
Sorry guys again. Oh my God.
Even if you went to the Blake Griffin, and here's why. Let me use an analogy that you would understand. You know, you don't get a ton of attention from the beautiful young lady. But if I paired you with J-Lo, they think you the sexiest man on the face of the earth. Okay? That's how I look at this situation here. Aldridge, he averaged, 19 points a game last year. Blake Griffin, yeah, he had the pressure of trying to play through knee injuries and had to put forth a lot of effort, but he doesn't have to anymore. And he's playing next to Kyrie. He's playing next to KD. He's playing next to Hurt. They're going to look good. They're going to look good. And I think that's why a lot of people criticize it. That's why people, go back and forth. But this has been going on forever. I mean, this is nothing new within the NBA. It's just now you can talk about it more because of the different venues and social networks you can blast your opinions with. But I happen to think they pretty much almost a shield. If they stay healthy, and although the Lakers got Drummond, Justin, I think that front line of Drummond, LeBron, and AD is ridiculous. I just think Aldridge and Blake Griffin will play up to a level with no pressure.
Yeah, I think you're misunderstood because I'm not saying that it doesn't. They're not going to be really good, right? I mean, of course, the Marcus Aldridge in the roster. We talked about this. I think there's even something put up on the internet from a clip from one of the shows that we did. That one, he's going to be rejuvenated. I think that's going to be the case for Blake Griffin. We saw it the other day over the weekend. He had a big game ready. So they're both going to be rejuvenated. They're not going to be asked to carry the load. If you know that they have an opportunity to win, but just defensively, it doesn't help them in that. So I don't think they sealed up their biggest concern with the Marcus Aldridge. I would have had a bigger problem if they got PJ Tucker would have scared me a lot more than Marcus Aldridge. Is what I'm trying to say.
But here's where they're going to get better defensively because they have knowledge, right? It's like, and I use me as an example, not known as a defender, but when I went to Seattle, I was around so many guys that understood the game, that had put through the work, that defensively you improve. And I think that's what we saw. That's what we're seeing with Brooklyn. That's what we're seeing with Harden. I mean, we don't really focus on his lack of defense now that he's in Brooklyn. Why? Because he's around guys that have that same mindset throughout the team, and he looks up to and he respects too. And that's why I think that, their defense is not going to be as bad as maybe we would think when we view them as an individual on their own team. And that's the scary part about this, is that you talked about this. They don't have to put forth that much work. They're not doing an 8-hour job now. Harden can show up and he can say, hey, Kyrie, I don't feel good, man. You go ahead and take on the shot.
Elgin retired, but Elgin was still playing at high enough level in 1969. Jerry West was at the peak of his powers, and Wilt was still he was still a elite player. And then ultimately won the championship in '72. Elgin retired just before that run.
Guys,
but they didn't win the championship. Okay, and that's what concern pops up for me. It's the same thing as the Lakers in 2004, right? When they had Kobe and Shaq, they already won 3 championships, and Gary Payton came in and then kind of acted like, hey, we won championships. Like it's owed to us, and it didn't happen. And that's the one concern I would have with the Nets, Eddie, is that they remind me of those 2 teams, perhaps, and they definitely remind me of the Clippers last year. Now, the Clippers didn't have this much talent, but the same type of concerns, right? Where, KD is not healthy still, right? So we still have to worry about KD's health, okay? And even if KD does come back, they played 7 games together, and you and I were worried about the chemistry of KD, Harden, and Kyrie, having only played 7 games and going into the postseason. Well, getting back into the program with Kyrie to get them to win that championship. You also have to get LaMarcus Aldridge in to acceptance of voting and fit it with those guys. And let them get Blake Griffin. So it's almost like you're asking 5 stars to alter their games a little bit. And if they're not going to get preseason or regular season reps, I'm not sure they can handle it once postseason.
You're right. They're definitely going. You know, I mean,
Ano ko, side mirror ko, frosted.
and you know, how good is Aldridge going to be when he's getting a touch every 2 minutes? I mean, how good is Blake Griffin going to be if he
For the blood! Oh my God.
That's the challenge. And when you haven't played together, like you just said, and worked on it and practiced and figured it all out, and all of a sudden at the end of the season, you're going to all of a sudden say, okay, we're going to go play. It's like a trump.
Sexy ng truck na to.
That's exactly what it is. I
Sexy,
used to
laki
coach
ng balang.
AAU, and I'm telling you, all those talented AAU teams, I was coaching back when Kevin Durant was playing, okay, in high school. And I'm telling you, those teams would always get beat by some team from Utah that's got like 5 or 6 players that's not athletic, that don't play hard together. I mean, they play hard together, and they're not, you know, these superstars. They're not getting these 5-star ratings when they beat them.
It's like the Tigers sometimes in the championship or in the NCAA tournament, regardless of how well recruits, right? In fact, these guys are going to be NBA players and somehow get beat by a small school where they got all seniors on the team who've been together for 4 years. Or the same thing overseas, right? In what was it, 2004 when Iverson, Paul Pierce, and a bunch of NBA players went over to Greece and they lost in the Olympics. Why? Because they just came together. They kind of just thought we could roll out the ball. These other countries have been together for years and actually played the game because of individual basketball.
Exactly. And I experienced it firsthand with Charles Pride and Green. I mean, we were more talented team than Utah. But Utah was a team. They played together for many years and they beat us. I mean, you can't ignore that part of it. And like I said, I think Brooklyn, to me, they're doing exactly, they make the same mistake that the Clippers made. That once you develop your team, you can't be so focused on trying to outdo the other guys based on personnel.
Huling vlog ko na to guys.
It's your
Kapag
team. You got 3
kailangan talaga
talented
may
individuals that should be able to win a title without much help. They got 3 that's very good, and they got 2 really good role players. Okay? And to me, that should be enough, you know, the 3. But when you start to keep adding, because you want to keep these guys away from other teams and all of that, that's the same stuff the Clippers did last year. And it created what? Combustion within the locker room.
Zero
And
visibility.
that's what happened. Okay? So if you don't tell me that these 5 guys going to be fine together, okay, but then I'll tell you that Joe Harris is not going to be good. Then I'll tell you Kid Claxton, who's showing that he's an NBA player, he might not be like that. Or DeAndre Jordan might not be like that. And that's when problems come in. So,
and to me, Joe Harris is still the 4th best player on the team behind the big 3 that they already have. Right? You just say who's now. I think Blake Griffin will do some stuff for him. I think Marcus will do some stuff for him. I think they both have their team, especially Walton. But I still think if you said who's the 4th most important now, to me, it's the inside. It's Joe Harris.
well, Joe Harris, because he's the outlet. He's the outlet from all of them, right? He is the one guy that if they get caught in the bind and they're out there on the court and he's open, bam, they're gonna give it to him because quite honestly, Joe Harris can probably stand in the gym and outshoot all of them. Okay? He probably
Where is the guy going?
He is probably up to that level. But you know what I'm saying? They'll kick it to him and they'll feel like, oh, he can make this. And so if they forget about him, it can be an issue. And that's the only challenge for Steve Nash right now. You know, look, if they could go out and get these guys, so be it, they can go get them. I have no issue with it. My criticism is always to the individual, right? And the only person I've ever criticized in this regard has been Kevin Durant, only because he joined the Golden State Warriors after they beat them.
Well, that's
the 3-1.
Right.
That is it.
We get, but people like said that, and I have an issue with it all, right? Like, so LeBron can't sit there and complain about what's going on in Brooklyn because he kind of got the ball rolling on this teaming up stuff. It started in 2010 when he joined Blue Bosch, LeBron, and then Ray
Oh, Lord.
a couple of years later, guess what? Golden State responded to that. The Nets then responded to that. The Clippers have responded to that. So they're like following this lead. But I agree with you. It's not a... The Nets should go out there and add if LaMarcus Aldridge is out there, the Nets should go, hey, we're not going to turn down LaMarcus Aldridge, right? We're not going to turn down Blake Griffin. You'd be insane to turn them down. But the issue is that the league at some point has to get under control. And I saw an article today by Howard Beck. And we were out ahead of this, and Beck elaborated on it. Some quotes from around the league with executives with the buyout process. But we jumped on this when PJ Tucker got bought out and then headed to Milwaukee. At some point, it's got to stop, right? Because you just have, like, the sport's supposed to be about competition, right? And if Aldridge wins a title in Brooklyn, is he really going to view himself as having won a ring? Like, is he going to sit there and, in his heart of hearts and say he felt like he won a ring? The same thing with Blake Griffin. Like, that's not Blake winning one with the Clippers. It's not him going to Detroit. It's him winning one as, like, the 5th or 6th most important player. But, it's just like, you can't have guys getting bought out and only going to play, 2 or 3 cities. It's not good for the sport.
No, but they're gonna go to a team that they feel like, if they get bought out, they're probably gonna go to a team where they feel
Ay, di pa ako.
Of course, but then the so great, right? Like, once guys get bought out,
Blizzard guys.
so guys don't get bought out. It's going to, like, Portland is a very good team where, it's a stretch to say they win a championship, but they might.
Yeah, we do do
All right,
my things sa labas.
Phoenix, not the favorites, but they have a shot. But people aren't going to go, let me go to Phoenix and maybe have to work a little harder, right? Because I'm sure Phoenix would have said, all right, we'll take down Utah. Like, it's the big playoff spots, right? He's a young kid. He wouldn't mind that. We'll take LaMarcus Aldridge. But those guys aren't going to a place where they even have to compete a little bit. They're going to, like, the guarantees. The guarantee. The Nets are a guarantee. So it's the rich getting richer and the teams that like have a little bit of a shot.
What's up guys? Kailangan na Wagyu guys. I shall return. Buhay Canada. Guys, if you play! Ano? Bakit mo na ito? Lakas ng isla. Nagpa-vlog ako. Bilis mo! Nagpa-vlog ako. Playing card. Come on. Nice play. Anniversary. spin lang yan eh.